in the primer mask. This is advertised as a 5-in-1 makeup face mask, sheet mask, primer. Trying it on my face, obviously, letting it sink in, see how makeup applies on top, see how makeup lasts. If you are interested in seeing how this works for me and knowing a little bit more about it, then just keep on watching. I picked this up at Sephora in Canada, and in Canada it retails for $8. For the suggested usage, it says to apply the mask and to apply to clean dry skin. So I went ahead and exfoliated and cleansed, but then didn't put on any of my typical moisturizers. So my skin is very dry right now and bare. It says to leave the mask on for 3 minutes, then remove and massage excess product into the skin. So you are not rinsing anything off. This is advertised as a 5-in-1 primer. So it claims to moisturize, brighten, blur, even out skin tone, and then set makeup. On the Canadian site, it has 4.2 out of 5 stars and 84% of people would recommend it, and then it has 37 reviews. Someone said they liked it as much as any other sheet mask but didn't notice a lot of difference in makeup application and longevity. That is kind of where I'm at going into this. I feel like sheet masks typically leave me moisturized, brightened, so I don't know what in here is different for makeup application and makeup prep. That there is how the sheet mask looks when you take it out of the packaging. It has a very bright pink tone to it, and there is a lot of excess product on here. My fingers are getting covered just from touching it, which is pretty typical for sheet masks in my opinion. I'm just gonna put this on. And then I've gone ahead and set a timer for 3 minutes. So I'm going to chill on my phone, hang out, let this sink in, and then I will be back to talk to you guys on the progress with the mask, how my skin feels, etc. So as you can see, there's a ton of product sitting on my skin. As the packaging advises, I'm supposed to go in and moisturize that, use that as the moisturizer for my skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and rub that in very gently. It does have a light pink tone to it though, so if you have darker skin, I'm not sure how well that would absorb into your skin and blend. I'm not sure if there would be a film left at all, like a light pink or whitish tone. That is how it looks all sunken into my skin. I think it looks pretty nice. My skin definitely looks hydrated. It looks plump. I wouldn't say it has too much of a glow to it, but it's definitely a little bit dewy. It is very tacky, which I like for makeup application. I'm a big fan of a tacky finish. Yeah, it does feel very hydrated. It gives a similar hydration to my Smashbox primerizer, which I really like. It feels really good. It feels plump, hydrated. My skin doesn't look red or irritated. So I'm not going to go in with any additional primer today because that would defeat the purpose. We are seeing what this can do on its own as the primer. So I'm going in with the Drunk Elephant Daily Defense 30. I picked this up a few days ago and I've been using it daily since. I really want to start using SPF on a really consistent daily basis. So that is how my skin is looking with that SPF applied. I would say it's a tiny bit more greasy looking. I don't think it's greasy. I love when my skin has a bit of a shine to it. So I don't think that really changed the consistency of the primer underneath. It didn't ball up at all, which I was worried about. Some primers do that on me and I hate it. Didn't do that. So far so good. I'm going to go in with a tiny bit of the Dior Backstage and then mix in some of this Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue, and this has SPF 30. This is also SPF 30. So I'm just going to mix these two a bit together and fast forward this application and then check in with you guys to see if the primer affects it in any way. So far, so good with that foundation. I just gave a super light coverage. Obviously, you can still see a lot of my spots. And again, didn't ball up at all, didn't patch at all, applied evenly like it normally would. And it looks very dewy and hydrated still. So now I'm going to go in with my Essence Camouflage Concealer. I really like this one. Conceal all of my spots. Again, I had no issues with the concealer. I would argue that it went on a little bit nicer than my concealer typically would. My skin still feels very hydrated. It's not peeling, it's not balling up, it's not patching in any way. I just figured I would check in super quickly before I head out. I was just looking at my skin and I think it looks really good. I look very hydrated, a little bit dewy. I think partially that is due to my SPF and my highlighter. Yeah, I don't have a ton to say. I think that my skin looks really nice. I went for a very light makeup look. Going to check in, I guess, once I'm back later on to see how the makeup held up and if it broke up any splotchy bits anywhere or if it balled up, but I don't see it doing that. I had no issues putting on my foundation, my concealer, my SPF, any of my powder. Everything blended really nicely. So I think so far this is a go for me. I actually think it's really nice. As far as the 5 claims go, it definitely hydrated, it brightened a little bit. I think it did even out my skin tone. I wouldn't say that it blurred, and we will see if it made my makeup last any longer. So I will be back in a few hours once I'm probably more sweaty, and we will see how the makeup held up, and I will give you guys my final thoughts. But as of now, I think this is definitely worth it for $8. It's really nice. It's a nice pamper product, and it definitely did do a nice job of prepping and hydrating my skin. I filmed the initial testing of this video around 2:30-ish, so it's been about 2.5 hours. So my makeup held up fine, and I was kind of thinking about what I would say for my conclusive thoughts on this, and I definitely think that it did what it claimed to do. It was moisturizing, a little bit brightening, it evened out my skin tone, and then in terms of blurring and setting my makeup, I'm not too sure. My makeup did hold up pretty well for having been on 3 hours. It looks as though I just applied it. I just reapplied my lip, but everything else is just as is, and I think it looks pretty good. For $8, I'm not sure if it's worth it. I was thinking about my Smashbox primerizer and some of my other face primers, and really they do the same thing. So unless you have an event or you're wanting to be extra and take that extra step and pamper, part of me thinks that you'd be better off just using a regular sheet mask that you already have and then putting your primer on top. I feel like it would do the same thing. That being said, I did really like it. I found it moisturizing, I found it hydrating. So it's really just up to you if you think it is worth spending $8 to prime your face one time. I think that it's a fun product, but I feel like it would be more worth it if it was like $3 for a one-time use priming mask. Those are my thoughts. It's up to you. It did what it said it's supposed to do, but even then, is it that amazing, or is it something that you don't really need? I love that Sephora collection is coming out with more innovative, different products, and I'm here for it. I'm here for testing all of them. I also tested their hair conditioning, hair sleeping mask a while back. If you haven't seen that, I will link it in the iCard above. And yeah, that is all that I have for you guys today. Like this video if you liked my review and demo and testing. Subscribe if you aren't already. I would love to have you coming back to my channel and watching